So the key to actually living off of your investments is not to have a lot of money invested, but it's actually to need less money to live. If you need less money to live, then you obviously need less money invested. Now, some folks are going to hear that statement and go, wow, I did not think about that. Like the same exact way when I actually heard it the first time. But some folks are actually going to give me side eyes and say, I need $10,000 per month to live, and there is no way I'm actually going to negotiate on that. And for those people, I recommend you watch this video all the way until the end, because most likely you need this video more than anyone that's actually watching this video right now. Because when you think that you actually need $10,000 to live and you want to make that much money from passive income, you don't really understand the math behind how much money you need to make to be able to do that, how long it'll take, and if it's actually even worth it in the first place. So in this video, I'll show you all the math. Now, before I say math, which I already did, I'm here to tell you that the math I'm gonna use here is iPhone math, which basically means you just need your iPhone to do the math. You don't need a scientific calculator. You don't need Excel sheets and templates. No, it's very simple, and it's just multiplying, all right? It's going to be very simple, trust me, so do not get scared whatsoever when I say calculate things on a calculator, all right? Now, do me a favor and actually smash the like button. It helps a lot with the channel, and I appreciate it a ton. And that's how I actually know you guys actually like watching these videos, and I actually make more of them. Now, the first thing is this, okay? I actually want to talk about the ludicrous idea of making $10,000 a month from passive income overall. Now, here's what most people don't understand, all right? To actually be able to do this, understand this, okay, guys? You actually are saying, I want to make $10,000 per month, okay? Multiply this number by 12. That basically means you want to make $120,000 every single year from passive income. Now, a simple way to figure out exactly how much money you need to have invested to actually generate for you $120,000 or whatever your number is just multiply the number by 25 if you actually want to do it based on the stock market. Because in the stock market, we have what we call the 4% withdrawal rate, which basically means we take 4% from the profit, so this way we never run out of money. So in this case, just multiply the annual amount of money you need by 25. So in this case, multiplied by 25 gives me about $3 million. You might be thinking, Tommy, this says 3,000. Are you losing your mind? Well, I'm just using small numbers, but if I actually multiply by 1,000 to actually make it like the normal, it's basically $3 million, okay? But I don't want to type in there $10,000 and then 120,000. So that's what I'm actually using, like the power of like 1,000 or whatever, right? That's the idea, all right? So for the most part, that is a lot of money. $3 million invested is a lot of money. Now, let's assume, for example, you're saying, Tommy, well, I'm not gonna do it like fast. I'm gonna do it like in around like 20 years or so. Well, let me tell you something, okay? To actually be able to generate a $3 million portfolio, you need to basically invest $6,546.38 per month, okay, for 20 years. Consistently, if you actually earn 10%, all right? That's the idea. It is a ton of money. Now, let's assume that if you want to make $10,000 a month, I'm actually going to assume that right now you're actually earning at least more than $10,000 a month, right? So if you're actually going to be able to invest $6,546.38. Let's assume, for example, this, okay? Well, $6,546.38, if I'm not mistaken, all right, here's the number. Multiply it by 12, you need to invest around $78,000 a year. Now, let's say you're saying, hey, I'm only going to want to invest around like 40% of my income because I want to be able to live on 60% of my income. That's not a bad idea, okay? 40% is still a good investment rate. It's actually above par. It's actually above what I recommend. I recommend no more than 20% usually. But let's say you're actually doing that. That means divided by 0.4, which is 40%, you need to be making around $196,000. Now, you might say, well, I'm actually making that much money, and if you are, great, do it. But if you're not making anywhere near this, it's almost like, what are you talking about? It's just, for example, like fairy tales in your head, all right? So that's why I actually want to be very realistic here. Now, here's the craziest part about this math I just did. This math does not include taxes, okay? So if you actually want to have $3 million, well, you actually at least need, for example, another 50% worth to cover taxes. So that's like 4.5 that you actually need. So when you actually take 4% of that, you're making 180,000, but once you take off the taxes, you actually get somewhere like around 144,000, which is a lot closer to your 120,000 goal. That means you need to invest a ton of money every single month, which basically means you need to be earning a ton of money every single month. And for most people, it's just unrealistic. It is like a fairy tale. And for most people, you don't need to actually be able to make that much money. This would put you somewhere like in like the upper tile when it comes to what most people actually make, okay? People don't make that much money overall. Now, let's say you're more grounded and you're like, hey, Tommy, you know what? I actually want to be able to live off my investments, but I don't earn that much money and I don't want to have the responsibility to be able to invest like almost $7,000 or more every single month to actually be able to get to that goal in 20 years. And imagine that, okay? 20 years of working like a mad person, working super hard, and then you finally make it to having a portfolio of $3 million or $4 million, okay? And then boom, the market crashes by 30%. Like, what do you do then, okay? Like, those things can actually happen, okay? It's just like probability. It's how things work, okay? So what do you do here if you're just an average person? The idea is, again, I said it, living off of your investments is not about how much money you have invested. It's about how much money you actually need to live. Now, let's assume a few things here, okay? The first thing is you want to be debt-free. You want to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of your emergency account once you become debt-free. And when I say that, I mean first become debt-free, and then you finally save up for a 3 to 6 month emergency account. That's the core idea. Now, if you have those two things done, what I recommend is basically you start investing like no more than 20% of your income every single month into your retirement accounts, whether it's your Roth IRA, max it out, and then put money, for example, into your 401k, all right? That would be the general idea of how I would actually go about it. Now, you're building up your investment account, great, but with all of your extra money, you want to go ahead and buy yourself a home. Now, the idea between buying a home is basically you want to buy a home where the mortgage, the taxes, the PMI, the HOA, the maintenance is no more than 33% of your monthly net income. Now, let's do some good math here, okay? If you're making $4,000 a month, multiply that by 0.33, which is 33%, well, you don't want to spend more than $1,320 on a mortgage, taxes, insurance, and everything else when it comes to this property. This might actually limit you to a property that's about like $200,000 on a 15-year mortgage. Those are the rules, okay? So what actually happens here? What happens is if you're actually able to pay off this property in 15 years or less by making extra payments, and you've been investing 20% of your income also, well, in those 20 years, in those 15 years, you will have a paid off home, and you will also have a good chunk of money actually invested. But what actually happens here is something that's actually insane. What happens is your shelter costs, which is the most expensive thing people usually have, becomes basically very, very low because you're only paying taxes and insurance. Let's say you go from paying like $1,500 for shelter to now only paying like around $300 for taxes and insurance. That's basically it. I mean, that's awesome because your cost of living is so low. Let's say you spend on utilities $500, on food $500, and on your car, which should be paid off because the first step is to get debt free, you only spend about $300 also. So if you run the numbers here, what does that actually add up to? Okay, $300 for your house, $500 for utilities, $500 for food. Well, that's, you see why I don't use big numbers? The total is going to be around $1,600, okay, guys? That's the idea. So if you're only spending $1,600 on your absolute necessities, what is this number multiplied by 12, like annually? Well, the answer is multiplied by 12. That's only about $19,200. Now, remember, the last person was saying, I need $10,000 a month. $120,000. That is basically almost like 5 times this, okay? Like 6 times this, okay? Basically, so it's like ridiculous, all right? So now you only need about $20,000, but it's not because you have less quality of life. It's just because you managed to lower your cost of living by paying off a home, not having any debt, having a paid off car, and having a controlled budget. That is the idea. That is the key here, all right? So how much money do you actually need to have invested? Well, multiply by 25, and the answer is going to be a whopping $480,000. That is a lot more different than 3 million or 4.5 million. It is a lot more different. Now, here is where things get different and weird. So only keep watching this video if you think you're a little weirdo like me, all right? So here's the idea, okay, guys? If you're actually able to generate $19,000, almost $20,000 a year from your investments, but you actually keep working at least part-time, you're actually able to work less than half of what you used to because you only work part-time. You're still able to actually make this money, have a great quality of life overall, and just not need to work for 20 years or 30 years to actually be able to retire. Now, some crazy folks out there are actually able to pay off a home in about 10 years. If you do that in 10 years, what happens is, well, you could actually have your investments, like they pay you some money because you need less money obviously to actually live because your cost of living is so low. But if you're actually working part-time, well, from that income, you're usually able to cover all your basics and be just fine, and you're able to use your investment money to do whatever you actually want with it. And the big difference is that you're not having to worry about, I need to invest half my income or 90% of my income. That's just insane, okay? This way, you could always just keep investing 20% of your income. Once you have a paid off home, you can actually live a little bit better. Now, here's some even crazier math, okay? This is because of the stock market. But let's say you actually want to get into rental property, right? So you want to make $1,600 a month, multiply by 12, that's $19,200. But if you're actually able to make 8% from your real estate properties, well, divided by 0.08, that basically means you only need to have a property or enough real estate that pays you 8%, only about $240,000. So for the person that actually needed to retire with 3 million or 4.5 million, you only need about 240K in real estate potentially and about $480,000 in the stock market. That is the overall idea. And that's why I love this plan 10 times more than being unrealistic and saying, hey, you know what I want to do? I want to get 10K in passive income. Now tell me, were you actually able to accomplish this? The answer is yes, but in a much crazier way because I'm a little crazier than crazy. What I did was basically, I actually moved to my home country. I live in Dominican Republic. My cost of living is literally less than $1,000 per month. And my investments generate enough to cover all of those expenses. Okay, so picture this, okay, guys? If I'm spending like around like $1,000 per month, which is usually less, but I like to spend some extra money, multiply by 12, that's only $12,000 a year, and you multiply it by 25, well, you only need about $300,000. That is the idea. So if you have 300K, then you're actually able to live the type of lifestyle I live without having to worry. But my whole point is I still work. My investment can still cover everything, but I enjoy my work. I enjoy what I do, but I'm in a spot where I don't have to worry about money that much because, hey, everything is covered. But if my goal was basically, hey, I actually want to live off 10K, well, this number goes from 300K needed to about like $3 million needed. It goes to being a lot of work, okay? And sometimes you might get to the end and you might get your 10K goal, but then you got there and you're like, yo, I spent so much time, I spent so much resources, and now I can't get the time back. I have the money, but I really can't enjoy it. And that's just not worth it for me, guys, okay? But thanks for watching this video. Comment down below and let me know what is your number, okay? What is your cost of living? How much do you actually want to make per year? Multiply by 25 and let me know in the comments down below. It's simple math. It's iPhone math. Watch this video a few times so you actually get it like locked in. Share it with your friends also. And as always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. This video is made possible by the people over at Patreon, the supporters. I appreciate you guys a ton. Here you guys are. If you want to join me on Patreon, the link is going to be down below. Thanks for watching. As always, peace.